It was never your mind that frightened them. It was your spirit. There is a moment, and many of you know this moment, when you realize that no matter what they took from you, no matter how long the silence lasted, no matter how many times they told you that you were the problem, something in you would not go out. That was not stubbornness. That was not ego. That was your spirit, doing exactly what it came here to do. You were not built like everyone else. The ancient world knew why. The chosen one is not primarily a psychological profile. They are a spiritual architecture, where ordinary souls carry a pilot light, enough to sustain, enough to survive. The chosen one carries what the Kemetic priesthood called Sekhem, raw, divine, animating force, not borrowed light, not reflected light, source light, moving through a human body. This is why ordinary environments could never fully hold you. This is why ordinary relationships eventually collapsed under the weight of what you carry. This is why the narcissist, whose entire survival strategy depends on dimming external light sources, could not stop coming back to you. You weren't supply. You were a sun, and they were orbiting. They walked this road first. Recognize yourself in them. Now, let's name the ones who carried this same spirit, because this is where your remembrance begins. Yeshua. Yeshua of Nazareth did not operate from intellectual mastery alone. The texts record that when he entered a room, the atmosphere changed. That is a Sekhem account. That is a spirit account. He was betrayed by his inner circle, publicly humiliated, accused of operating from darkness when everything he carried was light. If you have been called manipulative for having boundaries, called unstable for refusing to participate in abuse, called dangerous for simply existing in your power, you are walking the Yeshua parallel. Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin, Bodhisattva of compassion, is documented as a soul of such immense spiritual force that she absorbed the suffering of others into her own field before transmuting it. She did not teach compassion. She was compassion embodied. If you have ever felt the pain of people who never thanked you for it, if your empathy has been used as a weapon against you, if you loved people who could not comprehend the quality of what they were receiving, Kuan Yin is your mirror, Saint Germain. Saint Germain, master of the violet flame, is the ascended record of a soul who transmuted darkness as a spiritual function. Not occasionally, continuously. Every betrayal you alchemized into wisdom. Every abusive cycle you finally walked away from. Every time you chose healing over retaliation, you were working the violet flame. You just didn't have the name for it yet. Moses. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before his assignment became clear. 40 years of what looked like wandering, what looked like delay, what looked like God had forgotten him. The wilderness was not punishment. The wilderness was preparation for a spirit too large for ordinary deployment. If your season has felt long, if the waiting has felt like abandonment, Moses says, the timeline is intentional. Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene, whom the Gnostic Gospels position as the one who understood Yeshua most completely, was systematically discredited, rewritten, and removed from the record. The smear campaign against her lasted centuries, and still her spirit could not be buried. If they have rewritten your story, if flying monkeys carried false testimony about who you are, if you have watched your character be dismantled by people who never truly knew you, Mary Magdalene is your parallel. The record was corrected. It always is. They tried to extinguish what was never a flame. It was a furnace. Here is what distinguishes the chosen one's spirit from ordinary spiritual seeking. It does not develop under pressure. It reveals itself. The narcissistic abuse did not create your depth. The betrayal did not manufacture your discernment. The isolation did not build your relationship with the divine. It was always there. What the suffering did, and this is the precision of the ancient initiation model, is strip away every layer of false identity until only the original spirit signature remained. What you are now is not a rebuilt version of who you were before. What you are now is the unobstructed original. You don't have to announce your power. Rooms already know. The advanced soul does not perform their frequency. In the Vedic tradition, the Tejasvi, the one who carries inner radiance, is described as someone whose presence reorganizes the energy of a space before they speak a single word. This is why they needed to isolate you. This is why the smear campaign had to precede your arrival in new rooms. This is why they worked so hard to make others afraid of you before experiencing you directly. Your spirit at full presence was the threat, not your words, not your actions, your spirit. And now, on the other side of everything they deployed against you, that spirit is no longer dimmed by confusion. It is no longer apologizing for its own radiance. It is simply, finally, unobstructed. You didn't find this content. You were led here to remember. I want to speak directly to your spirit right now. Not your wounds, not your history, not the version of you that had to survive. Your spirit, the one that was present before any of this happened, the one that will be present long after the last trace of their damage has dissolved. You have been carrying something ancient, something that predates the relationship that hurt you, something that predates every system that tried to contain you. Yeshua felt it and kept walking. Kuan Yin felt it and kept holding. Moses felt it and kept moving. Mary Magdalene felt it and kept being. And so did you. Through every season that should have broken you, through every betrayal that should have closed you, through every silence that should have made you doubt what you carry, your spirit held. That is not coincidence. That is lineage. Welcome back to yourself. This is volume 114 of the Chosen One's Victory Files. The spirit they could never extinguish was always you. The ancient world had a name for what you carry. The Kemetic priesthood called it Sekhem, raw, divine, animating force. Not borrowed light, source light. Yeshua had it. Kuan Yin embodied it. Mary Magdalene couldn't be buried with it. Moses walked 40 years in it before the assignment arrived. And so do you. This is your remembrance.